Dave.
That's more dialogue he had than he had in the movie.
One more time.
Was this from Lord of the Rings or something?
Shut up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes. And he's perfectly sized with the rest of the action figures. It's great. That's a good Giallo
Got the
movie.
clap.
The clap is my friend, and only you can have her. Because a lot of these movies have like really long titles back in the good old days of yore.
Your
Unlike yore. Welcome to the Gore Club
Hunter of
Podcast,
the
everybody.
Future. Whatever that movie is.
I think Oliver Reed is that. I can't remember. Fuck, who cares?
Isn't Yor the one about the caveman?
Yore is it's an Italian like sword and sorcery movie.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
thinking of Clan of the Cave Bear?
No.
that's different.
No, never mind. Fuck, I don't know.
I have your stairs.
Oh, fun.
Anyways, I'm Steve Vessell.
Deathmetal Dave.
I'm Ace.
And tonight we're going to be talking about something Dave is really can't wait to talk about, and that's American Giallo.
American Giallo.
He's just
Giallo.
looking through. He's like, oh my god, I have not seen any of these.
Oh, I mean, I've seen a lot of them. I was a teenager. I liked
You like the boobies and the violence.
Yeah. So, and that's what those movies are all about.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
First off, we should probably start with what is American Giallo? What is Giallo in general, Steve?
Okay, it gets its basis from here. I actually wrote a spiel. Crime fiction pulp novel started in the 1950s. El Giallo Mondadori. I totally fucked that up. Which is Mondo Doriello.
Oh, wow.
That's what it means.
Means yellow paper.
Yes, exactly. 1920s, based on Italian translations of British and American writers. By the 1930s, they created their own stories under the term Giallo, which basically started. Okay, it's a Giallo movie.
Yeah.
It's a Giallo book.
Luridly stylized genre of mystery thrillers.
Thrillers.
The tongue twister.
It's a gory whodunit filled with like sex and violence.
Yes, but there's a drastic difference between Italian Giallo and American Giallo.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's like really like anything. You can like once we Americanize something, we kind of make it more palatable for our dumb audiences to watch.
I was gonna say there's a lot of weird like twists and turns, and it could be the killer or killers. You don't know who it is. It could be somebody you know the whole time, or somebody who's barely even in the background sometimes. And then when we grab a hold of it, we just kind of like you said, dumb it down, or just make it like less sensational. I guess like what is going on? Like you'll hear a lot of people be like, what the fuck is happening in this movie when it comes to real Giallo? And then when we get a hold of it, it can kind of be that way. And then you have to just really dumb it down and say like Scream.
Yeah.
Scream is a good example of like an American Giallo where it's like a whodunit. You never know until the end. He's a black the black glove killer with a mask. There's all like, what is it? The killer is usually described as leather gloves, hat, sunglasses, trench coat, gender swapping, or all of the above.
Yes.
I have
less gloves in America.
Not reliant on realism and good acting or motivation.
Or cats. There's no cats in the American Giallo movies.
This is true.
I would say I do have a little list of things about what makes a film Giallo.
Oh, please hit it.
It's lavish set design, vivid, bold, surrealistic qualities, exceptional costume design, acts of violence, nudity and eroticism, psychosexual desires from the killer and other forms of psychological madness, murder mystery, sometimes involving a disgraced detective. Red herrings out the ass. Beautiful middle-class women who have their lives either interrupted or ended, and a menacing soundtrack.
Yeah. I just like knives and gloves.
And glasses.
Oh, I forgot my sunglasses.
Right.
I'll put them on over my other glasses.
Yes.
As I make everything boppy-doppy.
So you're good.
We're only going to film this episode, but it's just a close-up on your hand the entire time. You just hear us talking.
Dave's like, those are real. I was like, yes, they are.
Let's just put those knives down for right now, Steve, please, and thank you.
Okay.
Those gloves look slick.
But yeah, I was gonna. So yeah, all that stuff. Plus, when they do it, when they Americanize it, they use all those tropes in a more stylized manner and like make it more sleek, and usually with updated soundtrack and not so much like a composer. Whereas like stuff like they'll use like actual like pop artists of the time. And like most American versions, they use the European style and mix it with a more easily digestible version for the American audience. And some may say they dumb it down for Americans. But in a lot of cases, the American counterparts have much better budgets. Like Body Double had a $10 million budget. How much do you think Don't Torture a Duckling had or something?
I was going to
that.
say some of the
Not 10 million.
Some of the Italian ones have some of the best fucking titles, and I wrote some of them down. The Girl Who Knew Too Much obviously is technically the very first Giallo, and then my favorite is Your Vice is a locked room, and only I have the key.
Yeah.
The girl with the bird with the crystal plumage.
Yes.
Dario Gento's classic. Sergio Martino's The Case of the Scorpion Tail. And then Le Foto Prohibo di uno signor per bene. It's the forbidden photos of a lady above suspicion.
Yeah. What's the strip nude for your killer?
Yeah.
I just love the full sentence of a movie title.
A lizard in a woman's skin.
So there's one that I couldn't find. It's a Giallo comedy called No grazie il caffè mi rende nervoso. No thanks, coffee makes me nervous. I want to find that.
The Italians do have something over the Americans there.
What?
The fucking names of these movies.
Oh, I know, I love it.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
And titles like, what do we name this movie? It's like, I don't know. No thanks, I don't want any coffee right now. It makes me nervous. It's like, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Or they're like Cannibal Corpse and just throwing darts at a fucking board full of gruesome shit.
Yeah. Just like any Carcass album where they just opened up a medical dictionary and went, that's a song title.
That looks good. That looks good. But let's talk about some, now that we know what Giallo is and what American Giallo is for everybody that didn't know, let's talk about some of our favorites. I'm out.
Oh, man. I actually chose Eyes of Laura Mars. It's super fucking Italian.
I love Eyes of Laura Mars.
Man, I mean, what is it? The glamorous people bring terrorized all-star cast of character and sex and actors. Brad Dourif. It's got Renee Abernos. I can't remember last name. From DS9. He's like the
Alien.
He is an alien. He's a security. She's chief of security. It's got Faye Dunaway, of course, Tommy Lee Jones, and and Faye Dunaway just won an Academy Award.
Yeah, and John Carpenter wrote The Eyes of Laura Mars.
Yeah, he did.
And it was directed by Irving Kershner, who you may know from The Empire Strikes Back and RoboCop 2.
That's one thing you got to give to the American Giallo movies. They've got a lot of like A-list actors in them.
Oh, yeah.
Every single one that you look at, even if it's not like, oh, well, they were young and they did it. Like, no, this person would just, like you said, just won an Academy Award.
What the hell? What are you doing in this movie? Thank you.
Yeah. And as far as like soundtracks goes, I own the soundtrack to Eyes of Laura Mars on vinyl, if only for that one song in it that's like, Let's All Dance, where it's like, ooh, ooh, let's all dance. There's also a Barbra Streisand song in that movie that is, but yeah,
Like
Let's All
butter.
Dance is much better. That's even my wife loves that song. The next one I have on there, Dress to Kill, was probably the most famous, like American Giallo, which, it's a mysterious blonde woman kills one of a psychiatrist's patients and then goes after the high-class call girl who witnessed the murder.
Yeah, it's one of our favorites, actually. It's one of Katie's favorite movies.
I love that movie so much.
It's got a very memorable cover.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we actually have bought the original movie poster for her years ago, and it's in our dressing room.
Yeah.
And talking to I mentioned things are psychosexual. Like this movie, it's almost jarring because you're not usually when you pop in a movie and the credits come on, you're like, whoa, that's just full frontal nudity right there up front.
Yeah.
You're just like, it doesn't even give you like a minute to even sit here. You're just like, if you're in the theater, you just haven't even taken a bite of popcorn yet, and you're just like, wow, Bush right in my face. in the first minute of this movie. This is what we're in for. Okay.
It sets the tone early.
Yeah,
It does. And our one of our actual personal friends was worked on the set and wrote many books. And what's the one that our friend Sam Irving,
Yeah.
who is also a director and does all kinds of. He's a phenomenal writer, but it's called
Boobs and Blood.
Boobs and Blood.
That accurately describes this genre.
Yeah, it was
It is, but it's also a double entendre.
Well, it was a limited edition. It was like 3 or 4 issues of a magazine, each one having to do with a different movie. But some of the proceeds went to breast cancer research.
Yeah,
So boobs and blood.
Nice.
Yeah.
Boobs for a good cause.
I went to look through her copy of it, and I was like, the first thing is like a breast exam. I was like, well, this is kind of exploitive, and I was like, oh wait, it has a purpose, okay, because it's just a girl, it's a goth chick filling on her boob. I was like, okay, and then I read it.
And it also features
I stared at it for like a good 5 minutes, and then I was like, "Oh yeah."
It's a Playboy fucking response. You're like, oh, I'll look at it for the articles, sorta.
Oh yeah, you're like me when my dad worked at the health department. He would be doing stuff, and I'd be like, let's put in this tape of how to do a breast exam. I was like 12 watching. I was like, yes, I'm just very informative.
Very educational, man.
Back before the internet, you had to find your own porn.
Yeah.
But I mean, Body Double, which we're going to talk about, the idea came from watching Dress to Kill. I mean, when making Dress to Kill, because he used a body double for her.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, Body Double also features an actor known as Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
He's in this
Dress
movie.
to Kill.
And
Dress to Kill.
Dress to Kill.
So
yeah,
he wasn't. He had more taste.
Yeah. He's but he's kind of featured, which kind of maybe an outdated aspect of the film on that of his character.
Little bit.
You know,
a little offensive there.
Yeah, it doesn't
Elaborate.
That doesn't hold up
It's
very
either
well.
embraced or just abhorred. It just depends on which side you're on.
Yeah.
Well, it's like how Sleepaway Camp has become an important movie.
Embraced.
Yeah.
Embraced by gay and trans culture.
And-
But you could see how it could go the other way, and Dress
Yeah.
to Kill is the exact same way. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, wait, are we just reducing trans people to, like, mentally ill, violent people?
Yeah, and that's a lot of some people say that some of it comes from ignorance and not like ill will, like they weren't going out to make a movie like to be just these people are crazy or something, like. But it's just ignorance of the time, possibly. But
Yeah, they just thought, well, won't this be a twist?
yeah, that's
You won't see this coming.
yeah for
Yeah.
sure.
But, I think the intention wasn't bad, but it was, like you said, it was ignorant.
Yeah,
It's weird when you can always go back on, what is it, 2020 or whatever vision is 2020. But like when you're in the moment, I could see people being like, well, this is because it's just saying that we don't have representation, and the representation that we get is we're murderers.
Yeah.
I totally fucking
yeah,
see that.
for sure.
That was the controversy with another
Oh,
American Giallo.
cruising.
Yes.
Cruising. So it's hard to find, and Arrow just now put out a big, huge book version. Like it's like a brick, and I can't afford it. So we found it the other night and just rented it. And holy fuck, I had never seen that movie before, and it's amazing. It's a Willem Friedkin who just did the Exorcist. So he didn't want to do this movie, and then he realized that somebody who worked as a radiology technician on The Exorcist was actually in jail because he was suspected of being the body bag killer of the gay community in New York. The guy who's like, does that dude went to fucking prison for the body bag murders during the 70s.
Oh, wow.
And William Friedkin found that out. He went to go and interview him in the prison, and he's like, yeah, he confessed to this one that was connected to all of them, and then slightly said, I am that guy. And he got out in 2004.
Damn.
He's convicted of fucking killing, chopping him up, putting him in the river, but he got out in 2004.
Good behavior.
But they couldn't get. I don't fucking know, dude. But like William Friedkin was like, "Oh shit, I have to do this movie."
Yeah.
Let me exploit this man.
Well, there you go. It's an exploitation movie, and it was horribly protested.
Yeah.
And they were trying to disrupt like the filming of it. They would get on rooftops and like try to reflect light. It was wild. But then you have the gay community who were a part of the film were like, no, we were trying to reconstruct what we were doing in these clubs. So they would go to the clubs and be like, well, then you guys can be extras, dress how you would dress and act how you act, but tone it down a little bit. And some of those scenes are like, fuck yeah, dude, this is crazy.
Yeah. It's
super enjoyable to watch.
And coming out then, if that movie came out 20 years after it originally came out,
Right.
it would have been still like, talking about just being like way ahead of your time as far as like making a theme of that movie coming out. Was that the 70s or? It was the 70s?
It was 1980.
80s. So I knew it was like right on the line there. But
Oh, yeah.
if it came out in 1990, it would have been like controversial at the time. Like, and all the stuff with like the bandanas and the color, like different things.
Powers
this
Booth
and
is the
stuff.
salesman.
Yeah. It's
you
wild.
learn a lot
He's
about.
like, yellow means pissing.
Yeah, because there's a scene in that where like he has like the wrong color bandana and the guy gets mad at him.
Yeah.
and he's like, that means something else or something, because the guy
Yeah.
gets pissed off.
The guy has a yellow bandana on, walks up to him, and he's like, so what's going on? He's like, I just like to watch, because it's Al Pacino.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, take the fucking bandana off.
It's also a really interesting movie because it was made in 79, came out in
Yeah.
1980, and the very first case of AIDS wasn't until June of 1981. So it's literally right before
Yeah.
the AIDS crisis.
And it's filled with sexual innuendo or it's just straight up sex, and they had to edit it around it. And he said that they had to put that movie to the MPAA 50 times at $50,000 just to edit it down and edit it down. And had to edit out 40 minutes of that movie to get an R rating. But it's really because it's gay people, man.
Oh, yeah.
If that was all like, what they consider traditional sex as sex scenes, it wouldn't nearly be. It would be like, a couple of times. Just tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
I like those boobs, though. But since it's men making out with other men and doing some crazy cool shit, I was like, fuck, look at this guy's getting ready to get fisted.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Dude, yeah.
censorship board on YouTube. But
submitting that to like like a group of people who have never seen two men kiss before, and it's like they're just like, oh my god.
But
like,
I can respect that.
Yeah.
He's trying to put that in a mainstream film.
Yeah.
And then here's the other thing. They have no representation, and now we're fucking like we're nothing but sexual beasts and we're murderers.
Yeah.
I totally get it. So you can look back in that movie and go, like, this is a fucking really entertaining American Giallo. Or you can be like, fuck this movie. And I can see both sides.
Yeah. It's definitely a lot of people have opinions about it.
There's one scene that I'll let Katie talk about.
I was about to say,
Oh
it
my
has
God.
one of my favorite scenes I've ever seen in a movie, which is what I like to call the jockstrap slapper. Where the police are interrogating these two men,
Well, Al
one
Pacino's
including
one.
Al Pacino,
His name is Steve.
and he's undercover. So these two men are being interrogated for these murders, and the cops are yelling at them, and they're not getting the information that they want. So you just see the door open, and in walks this like
He's 6'5".
7 foot tall,
Yeah.
just absolutely jacked black man in a cowboy hat and a jockstrap. That is it. And he
Says nothing.
He says absolutely nothing, walks up to Al Pacino and just slaps him as hard as he can across the face and walks back out.
That's it.
No explanation at all for that goddamn scene.
That's awesome.
Oh, no. Here's the explanation of why that actually happened in reality, because we looked it up.
I looked it up because I was like, we're just moving on. We're not going to talk
Yeah.
about it. And you do, after that, you see him sitting in a room just outside of the interrogation room, like reading a magazine or something, just sitting there in all his jockstrap glory. And so I read about it, and apparently this dude was a cop, and that was something that he did. It was an interrogation tactic.
Completely illegal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't hit suspects, or you're not supposed to.
In 1980, you could.
Well,
No,
yeah.
this is why.
So here's why it was so crazy was because the police figured if a suspect then later tried to report it or tell people that, hey, this giant naked man in a cowboy hat and a jockstrap slapped me without saying a word, people would be like, are you fucking crazy?
That's
There's-
exactly
There's
true.
no way that happened.
Yeah, and that guy told the story. He's like, yeah, that's what I used to do. And then you're going to tell me that I walked into a room full of cops and slapped you across the room and just walked out like a mummy? And they're like, shit.
Yeah.
It's so crazy it might be true.
What the
Exactly.
fuck?
But you got to think. You said this movie came out in 1980, so it was it was in the theater at the same time as Empire Strikes Back. It's like, oh, do we want to go see Airplane, Cruising, or Empire Strikes Back?
Oh my God. That dude had the best ass in the whole movie, by the way.
Oh, he really did.
You know that like somebody they wanted because like Empire was probably sold out for like weeks, and somebody went and was like, well, I guess we'll just go watch Cruise and see what this is all about. You're just
I
Al
like Al
Pacino.
Pacino,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's just
Yeah,
go
Al
watch
Pacino,
this.
Yeah, Godfather, man, come on.
And they learned about the bandana culture and
Oh
fisting.
my
I
God.
learned so much from that movie.
Yeah, and it like I think we were talking about it earlier, and you guys like it's like a one watch. But if you go back and rewatch it like we did, you will notice how much effort he put into just fucking with your brain. Like the guy, I'm just gonna spoil it because that's what we do. We're on the GORE CLUB podcast. We talk about everything. Is that the guy who's the original murderer in the very first scene? Is the fucking second victim, but you're not supposed to know that. But I'm really good with faces. I'm like, that's the fucking dude. Like his facial structure, everybody looks like Al Pacino that you think is the murderer. It's
Yeah.
really weird from like afar. But he did that purposely, very much like was another movie that they did that recently too. Like they changed it up to where you didn't know who the killer was. Ty West did it in Maxine.
Yeah.
Every time you saw the killer, it was somebody else in the outfit or the hand or whatever. William Friedkin did it in Cruising.
Yeah.
And I was like, are we not supposed to notice this is the guy? But at that time, you're watching a 35 millimeter movie and you don't get to rewind it
Yeah.
or pause it. And then it keeps going. And then finally, you don't even know if Al Pacino is the killer at the end of the movie. And he didn't even know if he was the killer at the end of the movie. And he was like, I don't know. They did not get along. William Friedkin did not like Al Pacino in that role and kept saying he thought he made a mistake because he wanted Richard Gere because he wanted to be more androgynous. And he was like, I made a mistake. And then now I watched it again. He's like, you did a pretty good job. And Al Pacino's like, I don't know.
That does make me think about Body Double, though, going back to your all's favorite film that's been the most mentioned movie
we're gonna
on
tear
the
that
Gore
movie
Club
apart at the end.
podcast. Of how, like, are we not supposed to know that that's the killer?
I didn't know. And they still didn't get along. And I think he appreciates his acting in that movie. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, he was named Steve. He's awesome.
Yeah.
But that movie is a head trip, and I recommend it if you can find it. Like I said, Arrow just put out a very amazing edition. It better be for fucking $70.
There's also somebody made like a fake board game to it or something at one time. I don't know if you've ever seen that. But it's like
Okay.
it's like a joke. It's not real. But
It's like Monopoly, and you have different color bandanas that go around the board.
you have
my
different
God.
bandana or something. It's like cruising the board game, and it's like two kids playing it. Like
Oh no, I fucking love it though. But there's so many other American Giallos that we could touch upon before we get to the body of this episode.
I think Alice Sweet Alice would probably be the next most notable one.
It's gotten a lot of like traction because they put out the soundtrack recently. They've re-released the movie, so yeah, it's in people's minds right now.
Yeah, I always kind of put this movie off for a long time because they promote it so hard with like Brooke Shields in the movie, and she's barely in it.
Yeah.
But I finally sat down and watched it like a couple months ago, and I was like, God, this is awesome. Like,
It is,
I
and
love it.
it's also a head fuck, which I like about at least they transported the I don't know what the fuck is going on when you go watch an Giallo film,
Yeah.
and then you have an American Giallo, and you're like, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, and if you grew up Catholic, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff in this movie that would be very relatable to you.
Yeah, I think the original title was Communion, something
Yeah,
like that. Before
it was.
the ones
and that makes a lot more sense than Alice Sweet Alice because I guess after this came out, it was Brooke Shields' first film, and then I guess they released it, and then they re-released it, I guess, because she blew up.
the Blue Lagoon.
Yeah, and then like the actress playing the main character in that was 19 playing a 12-year-old.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of like, because you're watching it and you're like, man, when I was first watching, I was like, this actress playing the 12-year-old is like the best child actor I've ever seen in my life. And then like I looked at it, I was like, oh, she's 19. Well, that makes a lot of sense then.
Yeah. You get somebody who looks, young to do the role, man.
Yeah, and then, there's a lot of like all the themes of the Catholicism in there, like child neglect of being it's like this at the time this takes place in the 61s. There's the latchkey kid.
Yep.
And like the disintegration of the nuclear family is a big theme. Like like the divorce, all that kind of thing. Where
Divorce rates were going through the roof, and religion was actually plummeting during the 70s.
Yeah.
And they were like freaking out.
and
Oh, no, people aren't going to church.
yeah, it's I think and a lot of this it was partially inspired also by Don't Look Now, which I discussed on here before.
I was going to
and
say
it's
the
a lot
goddamn raincoat connection. But
Yeah.
you already did it.
it goes
Go from yellow bandana to red.
Yeah, they go hand in hand. I think Don't Look Now is probably what people would think is the better like movie.
Shut
but
up.
I think Alice Sweet Alice is more entertaining.
Don't Look Now is my note was it's A24 horror at its worst.
It is.
I know you all like it, but I'm on Dave's side. What the fuck?
And all of these movies have one common connection: childhood trauma.
Oh yeah,
Somebody's always got childhood
Oh,
trauma
yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to me. Childhood
That was
trauma.
a good one though. man.
Now that one is pretty good, and it has probably the best cover out of all of them. I think.
Yeah.
Just like it's just a
Kebab.
Makes you scared of kebabs.
Yeah.
There's a guy in Alice Sweet Alice that is almost like when you see him, you're like, God, it's like the guy. He's like the landlord dude who is just like trauma levels of disgusting.
Oh yeah, he like runs the fucking junkyard and street trash
He's
looking
so
guy.
gross,
Yeah.
dude. And like they do it like that on purpose. Like he's just revolting, and he's just in his house listening to like opera or something on like the 78s. And then like the mom is like, hey, go down there and give him the rent or something. She just sends her 12-year-old daughter down to this guy's. Like, I was like, don't send your kid down to that guy's apartment.
No, he's not Mr. Miyagi. He's
But
Mr.
yeah.
Disgusting.
And like he has all these cats everywhere that he's living with. Which,
There you go, Dave.
Yeah, there you go. He's
They're
like
the cats.
crazy cat dad.
But they don't get thrown at anybody, do they?
no.
But Don't Look Now, to me, when I was really built up by somebody who suggested it last Halloween, and Katie loved it.
I love that movie.
I'm talking about Ace and Katie. God
Yeah.
damn it, they both love this movie. My
love it.
notes were blind psychics, weird sex, bad pacing, lack of music, and no real tension.
Do you want to know why I love that movie so much?
Because
though?
you like to bother me.
No, because it's all like the entire movie. It's about faith and like believing that everything happens for a reason. And at first, Donald Sutherland doesn't really believe in that, but then he's trying to like hold on to his faith throughout the whole thing. And you're like, oh, it's going to be somewhat uplifting. Like he's going to find a connection. Like these terrible things have happened for a reason. And it's just like, nope, nothing is connected. Everything is terrible. And they shouldn't have faith in shit.
Yeah. I love movies. Like I do like a happy ending, but like sometimes when I see movies where they just end on a big down note like that, I'm like, yeah, that's how it would really happen. Like that's good.
That's how life really works.
That's why Empire Strikes Back's the best Star Wars movie.
The trauma that we live. It's like, yeah, Bambi. Everybody remembers the point of Bambi is that the mom dies.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry.
Kind of like in Turner and Hooch when Hooch died.
Jesus Christ, are we going to bring that up?
Oh yeah, that was. I saw that in the theater as a kid, and I was like,
I thought well, Katie's going through something. I was like, let's watch something fun with dogs.
oh no,
No! And she even asked me, look, she's tearing up right now. She asked me, she's like, does the dog die? I was like, don't look at the internet. I don't think so.
I was like, there's no way he would put on a movie trying to cheer me up where the dog dies at the end. So I'm just like, look at cute little Hooch. And then he gets shot. And I'm like, oh no, but I know he's going to be fine. He's just going to be a hero. Like, you'll pull through, Hooch. And then Hooch fucking died.
Did y'all watch Old Yeller after that? Put on Old Yeller. It's like, here's a good one.
Hey, let's watch Cujo next.
It's like, God damn.
Fuck these guys.
Hey, neighbor's got a dog. Let's just go outside and shoot that.
Jesus Christ. But at least Dave was like, good point. They had puppies.
He had a puppy.
He did. That wasn't his puppy.
Well, I mean,
it was just a new. Was it even? It was a Dogue de Bordeaux. You just got a new one. Like you could replace. Hooch
those were
easily.
his. He impregnated the collie.
Oh,
or the collie.
Yeah, so they were his. Okay.
So he lives on. He was reincarnated.
You were so distraught by the ending and bawling, and you didn't notice
bawling.
the happy ending that was puppies.
Look.
Okay, but that's not a half collie, half Dogue de Bordeaux. That was just a purebred Dogue de Bordeaux at the end. So I'm calling bullshit.
So you're saying somebody swapped it out?
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Anyways, happy birthday to me. Directed by G. Thompson, who was nominated for Academy Award for The Guns of the Navarone. He made the original Cape Fear, White Buffalo, and Firewalker, which is my favorite Chuck Norris movie.
It is pretty good one. Louis Gossett Jr. is pretty good in that
I
movie.
need to watch that. I haven't. I don't
Oh,
know.
man. If you love ridiculous, over-the-top action movies that are ripping off like King Solomon's Mines and Raiders of the Lost Ark with Chuck Norris.
Louis Gossett Jr. He steals the show.
Yeah.
Fuck Chuck Norris.
Okay, yeah, I don't like him personally.
Does he call Chuck Norris a honky at any time in the movie? That would also, I would love that.
God. Well, it's got, what's his face from Predator there? He's the main villain.
Billy.
Yes,
nice.
Billy. Oh, my God.
But it's a good movie. It's not a Giallo, though.
And there, no, it's not a Giallo, but we just get back to Giallos. There are like North American Giallos, like Prom Night. Prom Night's obviously a fucking Giallo movie. Yeah. Canadian. Actually, a lot of the movies we're talking about were actually Canadian productions.
Yeah. I think Happy Birthday to Me, I think is good, but it runs it's kind of long.
It's a long movie.
It's almost 2 hours. I'm like, this doesn't need to be 2 hours. Like, it's like, you could lop off about 20 minutes of that movie. I think, but like the beginning is good and the end is good, which kind of makes
so many red
pretty good bumper there. And I can't figure out that, when you first start the movie, you're like, how old are these people? Because they're like, you find out they're in high school, but they're all at this bar drinking.
So you explained it to me, right?
Well, it's like a private boarding high school.
Okay.
So it is a high school. So, but I also think because it was in Canada, was the drinking age like 18 then? I don't know.
Yeah, but that girl's not even 18 yet.
Oh,
that's the whole point
right.
of the movie. She's turning 18.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to me.
I know. It's wild. And they're all getting trashed at the bar and everyone's cool with it. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I just, whatever Canadian
It's a Giallo
town that
movie.
was, it looks pretty
They're
good.
also rich kids. So rich kids got away with a lot of shit in high school. At least in my high school.
I started going to bars when I was 17. Nobody ever carded me. And I know I looked like I was 14. They just did not give a fuck. I'm talking about you, Louisville. Every bar that I know of that you talk about now, I went to when I was 17.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%. Because the first time I went to a bar, I didn't even get carded.
No. I never got carded.
It was and then I turned 21, and I didn't get carded still.
No, I got carded at a bar that I had worked at for the first time ever. It was Metal Monday. And I walked in on a different night, and the door guys were laughing at me by the other door guy who was carding me. I was like, I don't care. Here's my ID. Yeah. I'm 40 at the time.
I got carded for a rated R movie when I was 29. So I don't know what the fuck you
that was recently,
about.
right? No, what? You just got carded again.
Yeah, at was it a Mac Bar?
Yeah, I think so. It's great.
Well, I mean, it's nice now, but at the time I was like, God damn, I can't get away with anything. Like I was carded constantly.
It helps when you're bald and you have gray hair.
This is true.
You're like, yeah, I came to Magbar. Steve's like, I came to Magbar with my 18-year-old girlfriend.
Right? I was like, this is a terrible reflection on you, Steve.
Everything is. But there's a lot of American Italian Giallo like films. Like we talked about Maxine. We have a whole episode on that.
Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct is considered a Giallo, and I
yeah.
agree with that. It's good. And the whole point is like she's not running around like with gloves and sunglasses and a trench coat, but you still don't know who the killer is. I like that kind of shit. Scream.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
Which is probably the most important one out of the...
Because Bava made Twitch of the Death Nerve.
Yes.
Bay of Blood.
Whatever you say, dude. Just put down the knife.
No.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Friday the 13th definitely would fit in this category as being probably the most famous one. I guess probably is the most famous one, even though people probably don't think of it as a Giallo, but...
It is absolutely a Giallo.
But yeah, it
it's a
definitely
whodunit.
is, yeah.
You never see you see a lot of the killer's hands.
Right.
You know, people, you don't know who's who in the
Yeah.
end of it. You're like, is that person murdering everybody? Is that person? No, it's the dead kid's mother.
Which it's probably...
Childhood trauma.
Yes, definitely.
lot of hands.
This is true.
I mean, it falls into it. It fits perfectly.
And it's a beautiful twist ending. It was before slashers were so more like way formulaic.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you hit Halloween 2, you're like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to be doing. Supernatural killer, which there are some supernatural elements in some Giallo films. I mean, Suspiria is considered a Giallo film, but like I compared it to like a Giallo movie, like when Iron Maiden got keyboards, they were like, what the fuck is going on? You know?
I mean, I guess it's still the same, but this is weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like witches, but it's like you only see their hands. And I mean, I get the connection. It's very like the trappings of Giallo, but it's not, to me, it's not a Giallo film.
Yeah.
He's made some amazing Giallo films, except for Giallo. The movie called
Yeah.
Giallo is more of a fucking like, it's just a detective movie, which is in that realm of vintage Giallo when you're talking about the stories and the books.
Yeah.
But not the movies. So you're going to make you're the king of Giallo and you're going to make a movie called Giallo with Adrian Brody. I was so excited. No.
Nope.
What the fuck? This movie's awful.
Well, I was listening to Tarantino did a whole did an interview, and he was talking about kind of American Giallo movies, and he says he doesn't even consider Cruising as a Giallo movie because it's more of the focus on the police procedural aspect of it.
I can see that.
It's probably not enough feet.
Yeah.
What color fucking bandana would Tarantino have to wear?
Which one goes for feet?
Like if you break it down to like what we think of as Giallo, I could see why Cruising would not fall into that. You have no glove killer. You have there's no trench coat. You kind of see the guy's face from the very beginning, but then you start realizing that everyone's face has the same bone structure, same chin, same eyes. I don't know what's going on.
Great ass.
That's a great ass. What's that? Devil's Advocate?
Heat.
Oh, Heat.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I can't even tell.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
All those movies just blend together.
Oh, God. Are we going to talk about Body Double?
Please,
Yes.
let's do.
Let's do it.
I'm ready to hear why this is Ace's favorite movie.
Okay, I got a quick spiel on Body Double. It's pretty fucking ridiculous. It's like Greg Wasson is Jack Scully, a working class actor living in 1980s Hollywood. He's failing at life. He's about to be fired from a low budget vampire film called The Vampire's Kiss. His auditions are failing. His acting coach is an abusive prick. He catches his girlfriend Barbara Crampton in one of her first roles, banging the hell out of another guy,
Looking good doing it, too.
looking great, and she's
Dude.
glowing. By the
Man,
way,
she is hot in this movie.
And now he's immediately homeless because that was her apartment. But bam, out of nowhere, an angel falls into his lap. Sam Bouchard, Greg Henry from like Slither, Guardians of the Galaxy. He was the BTK killer in the biopic. Fucking great, by the way. He gives him a place to stay. He's subletting a chemosphere.
Yeah, that house is wild.
It's
It's almost
fucking-
like its own character in the
So
movie.
explain to the audience what a chemosphere is.
It looks like an alien spaceship with a... you have to... It's
You
like
have to travel via gondola.
Yeah, you have to go like a gondola to get up to the top
Which they
of
got
it.
in Maxine.
Yeah,
Got
it's
in
the
Maxine.
most it'd be the hardest place to ever live. Like you could only be like, it's just one big round room.
Yeah.
It's like, if you come to this place and walk in, it's just like, oh, like somebody in here was fucking.
Yeah, you walk in,
Like,
it's a fuck pad.
This guy fucks.
This movie has a lot of actors that you recognize. You got Sergeant Spickowitz from fucking NYPD Blue.
Dennis Franz.
Dennis
yeah.
Franz.
Yeah, he was in so many De Palma films. I think like 5 or 6.
He's in Blowout.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
in Blowout. He's in Body Double. He's in Dressed to Kill. He's in, I forget what, I mean, he's done so many. But well, anyways, while showing him the place, he introduces his sexy, rich female neighbor that loves to dance naked while playing with her jewelry and herself at the same time every night at the stroke of midnight in front of open windows.
Yeah.
And then bam, murder.
Yeah. I think
That's my spiel.
so. They got Craig Wasson is from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 is what everybody knows him from.
Yeah, he's the doctor.
He's a doctor. He's a cool doctor.
He's perfectly cast in this movie because you look at him and you're just like, God, this guy's a loser.
He's the perfect everyman. He is the perfect Hitchcock male.
Yeah.
He is just like in Vertigo. Like, what is it? He is Vertigo. He is fucking he is those characters.
Yeah. And he's the perfect, like that guy, the guy looks at him, he's just like, oh, this guy, he's the perfect patsy for this. Like, he's like such a loser. Like, he's like crying and he's like in the acting class, and just the fact that he brings him up there and he's just like, oh, hey, is she putting on a show over there? And he just completely falls for it. Like, wow, this happens. This is real. Like,
Sam, who's played by Greg Henry, or as I like to call him, high class Corbin Burnson, because I keep getting them too confused.
Holy shit!
But some
Major
people,
League Body Double.
Major Double. Yeah, you people would know him from Slither, Payback.
Oh, yeah.
Mel Gibson's a shithead,
God, he's so fucking
but
good in
it's
that.
a good movie, and he's really good.
He's
in
a
that
great
movie.
villain.
He is a great villain, and he's a villain in this movie.
Oh
right?
yeah, well yeah, that's the whole thing. Sam Bouchard's a piece of shit.
Yeah, but everything just lines up like the fucking
perfectly.
Jake never even once is like, man, this all seems too convenient. I got kicked out of my house, or I left my house because my girlfriend was banging a dude, and then this guy just comes along and says, yeah, man, I got a place for you to stay. I just met you today, and we're all these
friends
together. We're friends. Why don't you come stay at this fucking spaceship via gondola and just make sure you water the plants? Oh yeah, naked lady.
Oh, that's
Enjoy.
I love the plant watering thing.
Yeah. Not to jump ahead yet.
No, go ahead. Fuck
the
It's like a Giallo. You have to like rewind it to watch it again.
The exposition dump that Jake gives to the Holly body towards the end of the movie, where he's just like going on, he was like, and then he's like, he sees me, a big loser, and he's just like, hey, okay, is everybody on the right page here? Everybody up to speed on the movie? Okay, let's go. Like, they do the same exact thing in Maxine, where it's just like going back and showing clips of everything that happened in the movie, except in there, I was like, okay, I get it, like, but I just like, he is just like dumping exposition out, just like telling you exactly what happened. It's so good and it's so cheesy. I think I like that so much.
Well, and my love for Giallo before I'd even seen this movie. Now I saw this on like Skinamax because they would show it late night, Movie Channel, or even unedited on USA. Or edited on USA, and I was like, "What is this fucking movie? It's got so many things I love about it. It's got sex, violence. It's got, by the way, I got it, and he's a driller killer." Mind broke.
Yeah,
this is the same drill they used in Slumber Party Massacre that he used in that.
The Native American killer guy, right?
Yeah, that's
just mauls Jake. He's like,
clue.
Shit.
That's why the dog didn't attack him, because it was his dog.
Dun, dun, dun.
And the drill in that movie in no way is a phallic symbol at all. That it's not supposed to be a giant penis or anything. But
when you see it literally coming down from in between his legs, it's like, oh, is that supposed to be a penis?
And I like that he says like that wasn't the intention. I was like, De Palma, you're a fucking sex fiend. Yes, it is.
Yeah, bullshit.
Yeah.
So he lets us know from the very beginning that nothing we're going to see is real. It's like from the first time you see him, like they're on the Hollywood lot and all the backdrops are moving. You think you're out west, and it's not. It's like from within the film, within the porno of the film, including the relationships in the film, are all sad facades.
Yeah, that was a whole note I made on there about the credits start. And it's a desert scene. It pulls away to show the movie lot, and then just the way that they use that rear projection while he's driving the car also kind of puts you in the same kind of mindset. It's there's another thing about it's Craig Wasson too. There's like I said, he's kind of like a loser, but you kind of feel bad for him until you see him like following the woman in the department store.
Yeah, he wants to make sure she's safe. She's safe. Got to make sure she's safe, but she dropped her panties, so I'm going to take them and put them in my bucket.
How many creeps that you have known or seen or heard about that are doing this because they care?
Yeah,
you're a fucking creep, dude.
Yeah, like you're just waiting for somebody to walk into the chemisphere and be like, "Hey, do you want to sit down? There, nice to meet you. What were you planning on doing here at the chemisphere?"
I know.
Why do you have these Mike's Hard Lemonade?
Would you like to watch some music television?
Yeah, there's also a fucking music video in the middle of this movie.
So let's set some of this up. So De Palma and cinematographer Stephen Burnham mixed 1980s MTV, 42nd Street, Sunset Strip sleaze, Hitchcock, Giallo, and unlike other Giallos before, he had a budget, a crew, top actors, and they brings all this homage to life. Green screen car rides, a weird tunnel makeout scene that blur the lines from film and reality. Craig Wasson as the punk rock Billy Idol vampire takes the contemporary vampire to levels it had never seen and won't see again until like 4 years later when Joel Schumacher will slap chaps on teenage boys and we see the Lost Boys. Like nobody has seen that.
No. You missed that Jim Carrey one, Once Bitten.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
holy
Same-
shit.
Yeah.
Rockula did it. Sorry,
Oh,
go
God.
ahead.
But anyways, I wrote down, sorry, Mr. Barlow and Jerry Dandridge, softcore Billy Idol boner wins. Because that's what he looks like. And he's even wearing the Billy Idol fucking costume at the beginning of the movie, which is the movie within the movie that we're watching.
Yeah.
Because he's afraid of enclosed spaces.
They're telling you the story before we see the story, and then later on he just shoves it down your throat. Like, we got it.
Yeah.
We've seen all that.
The first time I watched this, I think I kind of missed that part at the beginning where he's like crying and he like freezes up in there. Because later on, I must have like been on my phone or something. Because like later on in the movie when he's going down the big hallway, like off the beach.
We're
and
going
he
to talk about this makeout scene.
And yeah, but he just freezes up and I was like, oh. And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
You
sorry.
didn't have a cell phone the first time you watched this, Ace. I know why you didn't pay attention to the exposition. Melanie Griffith.
So he's introduced to this woman who obviously he's going to jerk off to every midnight from now on across the street. And then he starts stalking her because he cares.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
which was
one
the
night,
best.
during one night when he's really bummed out and obviously watching porn, he notices, oh wait, it's midnight. I have to go watch my girl. And then he sees this guy welding across the street on like a telephone pole, and he's like, "What? That guy can't be watching." And, that's when and then he becomes like the fucking hero in his own mind, and then he has to reach out and figure out, like, he realizes that he's following her, so he's got to follow her, and then he ends up in this stupid fucking mall.
Yeah.
What's the name of that place? It's still there.
Oh shit,
Oh,
I
it's-
can't remember.
And now it's like Plastic Surgery R Us.
It's
Yeah.
the rodeo,
Rodeo?
Rodeo Drive, the rodeo. It's the Rodeo Collection Mall, I think is what that's called.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful building. Great for stealing panties.
Yeah.
Especially when they're just laying around.
Well, she put him in the fucking trash, and he was like, "Oh, can't waste these."
Also, who wears underwear straight out of the store?
No.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, she has so many
people.
issues.
So many people. I worked at
So-
Victoria's Secret for 10 years, and so many people were like, "Can you cut the tags off these so I can put them on in the fitting room and just wear them out?" I was like, you know how many times I've probably dropped these on the back floor?
Or somebody else may have tried them on.
Yes.
Plus, don't they spray those things sometimes?
Nope.
Ah!
If somebody's like returning something, or if we find them in the fitting room and they've been
Yeah.
obviously worn, I'll let you use your imagination for how we figure out they were worn.
Ejaculated.
Ew. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I mean, yes, there
smell
was.
Or gushy bush. What? What are
There
you talking
was
about?
plenty of that.
Yeah.
We would just throw them away.
Yeah.
Good call.
It's the gushy bush
Yeah.
panties. Don't do
Oh
it.
my
And
God.
then the hero from the movie would just come by at night and just take them.
Takes him puts them in his pocket.
Yeah.
This whole part is like a fucking...
It's a clue.
Oh my God. This whole part is a day in the life of a creep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
and
is.
finally the detective shows up, like, after the murder happens.
Wait, we haven't gotten there yet, though.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just saying, like, this is the day in the life of a creep. He follows
Yeah.
her to the fucking mall, and then he follows her to the, whatever, that hotel.
Beach.
The
beach, yeah.
beachfront motel. And then he's like, oh, I'm not following you. And then her purse gets snatched. They run into the tunnel of love, and you have this
Yeah.
ridiculous makeout scene.
Purse gets snatched by somebody obviously in a mask.
Native.
Well, and she is holding her purse out in such a way, it's like the strap is hanging off of her pinky. Because that's how you hold a purse. Just like, uh-oh, I hope nobody comes by and just a stiff wind blows this off my hand.
Yeah, a fucking seagull could have grabbed it and ran away by
Yes.
Oh, let's talk about the tunnel of love and the fucking, in the makeout scene. Sorry.
You mean the was it like 3.5 minutes of making out and then
Jesus.
Getting dizzy.
How did we...
getting dizzy?
Yeah, talk about like trying to bend reality. You've got, okay, he takes the purse and runs off, and he knows, since we know this is Sam Bouchard, because it's obviously not a Native American in a mask. And he's like, he uses his fear, which we see earlier.
Yeah, he
Help me out here.
He runs down the long hallway knowing that he's going to freak out and
Yeah.
not catch him. Then he steals the card out of the woman's purse and leaves everything else there.
Right. And then she's like, thank you. Let's fuck in the tunnel.
Yeah, it's like
Well, no, at first she's like, oh, wait,
Oh,
this
that's the
is
thing.
weird. I don't like this. But then, of course.
Since it's a male fantasy jerk-off movie.
Yeah, she's just like, oh, no, this is great. Actually, grab my boobs and let's Spin around.
Yeah. It's like, were you J-O-ing to me in the mall earlier?
I love it. And that woman in the mall scene is actually Gozer in Ghostbusters.
Oh, yeah.
The woman who fucking sells her the panties.
Yeah. The upscale panty place.
Yeah.
This is where the murder scene in this, like, when I first saw this movie, I always thought it was just like one of those like erotic thrillers, whatever, dime a dozen, kind of like, late at night. But when it got to the actual scene where the murder happens is where it like changed for me. And I was like, oh, wow, this is like something completely different. Because it goes like because like the beginning of it, it's kind of, there's like the sexual stuff going on. He's following her around, but then like the dude shows up with the drill, and it's just like intense. He's like puts it through the chest, goes through the floor. The blood's coming down through the floor. It just goes super violent all of a sudden. You're like, oh man, this is a completely different movie than what I thought.
And
it was.
meanwhile, Jake's fucking running over, and there's just some guys jogging at midnight. And he's like, somebody's being murdered, and they just fucking believe him. And then they go over there, kick the door in. The dog immediately attacks Jake. She's upstairs getting murdered.
It's a great scene, actually.
Yeah,
And
it's really good.
It's very confusing for that animal.
In that scene, you realize, like, oh, wait, this is the guy who made Scarface.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of gore. I mean, that drill comes through the ceiling above him while he's getting attacked by the dog. It's just blood just gushing down. And he's just loving. It's a wild fucking scene.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. And the music in it and everything is just like, and the dog's like, it's so intense because the dog is like attacking him the whole time, which is kind of tense as it is. And then you got the drill going and it's just like, like, stop.
I'm just saying, Brian De Palma doesn't know how dogs work. Like, if I grabbed Rachel and just started shaking her in front of the dog,
Oh,
he'd
yeah.
probably attack me.
Dudley is taking you out.
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Even the old one, when he was alive, would bite me.
He looks like the dog
Not
from
that
the
I
Lost
shook
Boys.
Rachel a lot.
He
Wait
looks
a
like
minute.
Thorn from the Lost Boys, the dog does to me.
Yeah.
I love that dog so much.
Yeah. Now this is where like so finally like that
The
detective shows
detectives
up.
come in.
And the detective shows up and says what everyone's been thinking this entire time, which is like, "Hey, you fucking pervert! What are you doing? Like, I bet you love doing this stuff, don't you little pervert?" Just,
Yeah.
Like, finally, somebody says something. He's like, "Oh, what are you insinuating? Are you? I'm not like
I would
this."
never do that. I'm a promising young man.
Yeah. Somebody finally looks at him and they're like, "What you're doing is disgusting." Like,
That's also illegal.
And
So.
Yeah.
you didn't do shit.
And
You
yeah, they
didn't
couldn't-
save her. You didn't do anything. All you done is put yourself and incriminated yourself into a crime scene that we could have probably, hopefully, figured out without you.
Yeah.
But he was drug in by Sam Bouchard because Sam calls him and be like, "Hey, man, you watching that girl?"
yeah,
And meanwhile, if you watch that scene, the windows open up upstairs.
yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean, it's obvious who the fucking killer is.
yeah.
But then you're supposed to not realize that it's not a Native American, or it is a Native American, or is it Sam Bouchard? Now, when Katie watched it, she was like, "Oh, it's him in a mask." But when I was a kid, I still didn't note it because of the diffusion on the film. I was watching a copy of a copy on television.
Yeah, the first copy I saw, the first time I watched this was on VHS.
Yeah.
And
On a tube TV.
and I kind of was like, oh, well, he probably hired this weird looking guy.
I think that's what you're supposed to know.
because
You're
he
supposed
looks,
to think.
there's something off about him. Like you can kind of tell it's like a weird mask, but he just looks like first time you see it, there's something not right about this person.
Yeah.
Like,
He's got a little Mike Ness gold tooth going on.
yeah, and like I was like, but you're like, oh, he just hired this guy to do it, and you're gonna find out why later on.
Yeah. He's
looks
wearing
like-
sunglasses. He's got black gloves.
Looks like
Driller
Vincent
killer.
Price at the end of House of Wax, where it's just like his face is so unnatural looking and shiny, but also like plastery.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't look natural. You're like, that's not a regular human face.
Yeah. So after all that, like he's watching the TV
He's
in the
watching
room.
a porno.
What channel is that? Is there a channel in LA that just plays porn at
It's
night?
the magician from fucking Pee-wee's Big Adventure interviewing porn stars.
Yeah, like what
It's
channel
fucking
is this?
great. I don't know, but I want this.
Yeah.
And that's who you realize is because Holly does Hollywood.
She does the dance, and then like me, I'm so dumb. Like if I was watching that and I saw her do that dance on the TV, I would just be like, "Oh well, that's wild," and I would have like changed it and never even put it together. Like,
Yeah, but he really watched that dance and knew
Yeah.
exactly what she did.
He knew the routine.
Yeah.
The solo routine.
I guess maybe if you have to get in the mind of a real pervert like him, where he's just like that's something that sticks in his mind is like, "Ooh, that sexy dance." That's
Okay,
really stuck in
I
my
retract
brain.
my statement.
He's obsessed.
He
He's
is
obsessed
obsessed
with her, yeah.
And he finds out that Melanie Griffith has the. Is it a tattoo or is it a birthmark? I can't
It's her
remember.
tattoo.
It's a holly.
It's Holly.
It's a piece of holly.
Oh, that's right. That's her tattoo.
Holly's
And he's like,
body.
I've seen that before, right over there in that room that
Yeah.
I've been spying on and never noticed that, the other lady didn't have that tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
And apparently, I guess Tower. What's he go to the Tower?
He's not an
Records?
ass man. He goes to the
Because he
Tower.
cares.
Tower Records.
Tower
and
Records,
he-
yeah, and he's like, "Hey, I need this porno." Holly does
Hollywood.
Holly
or
does
something.
Hollywood. Yeah.
I love that kid. I
Yeah,
love that
and the
kid in
guy's like,
videos.
"Follow me."
Yeah.
He's like, "I got a whole bunch of these tapes in the." And the thing is, I don't think it was in a big box either. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's odd.
This is something lost on
very
people now.
odd.
Because back in the day, you had to go searching for your pornography. Like you had to go out, you had to leave the house, you had to go talk to somebody in person, and then, like it'd say, and have like a conversation. Where you're like, I would like to buy this tape so I can jerk off to it later. Like,
Yep.
it wasn't like now where you can just do it secret on your phone.
That's
and
what I love
and
about-
feel no shame.
That's what I love about Maxine. When Leon's running the store, he's like, "Oh, I don't do that anymore, man."
Yeah,
And I don't know what kind of movie he's talking about, but you have to go talk to the guy and be like, "Do you have fisting anal beads and maybe a chainsaw?"
yeah.
It's fucking great.
Yeah.
somebody made it.
But he gets the movie, he figures it out, he goes to, and so since he cares so much about what's going on,
Yeah.
he's going to investigate himself because the cops just don't understand.
Yeah, and he just gets hired to be in a porno. Like no one in their right mind would ever hire Craig Wasson to be in a porno at all.
Hey
this
man,
studio-
you didn't see his hog, I guess. I mean,
Yeah, you didn't see his hog leg, the Wasson.
Yeah,
maybe he's packing. I don't know, man.
Wasson's packing.
The studio
just-
that he goes to is hilarious. It's like a two-tier thing, and if you look out the windows, you can see all the actors doing their thing in different
Yeah.
areas, and a lot of those were real porn actresses.
Yeah,
And Brinky Stevens.
yeah. Brinky Stevens has a "Blink and You'll Miss It" cameo.
She's in the movie 3 times. She's in a video that he saw. He's in the movie that he's going to be in, and she's actually acting in one of those scenes at the bottom of that when you're looking down, he's doing his audition.
Yeah, and like
How do I know? I know.
Obsessed.
I was obsessed because people don't understand I have to help.
there's a doorway in that scene that somebody walks through, and it's just like a big neon sign that says "sluts."
Sluts.
I want that sign.
I was like, "That's great. I want that sign."
Yeah, Melanie Griffith's character was based on a very famous, two very famous porn stars at the time, Sika and Karl Lott. And Karl Lott actually helped with this movie.
Yeah, I recognize the name Sika from back in the day.
Isn't that a wrestler?
Is it? She's very European. The best part about this is that he goes and does the scene, and like the guy at the end of it goes, "Where's the cum shot?" Because later on you find out he goes, "I should have known that he didn't know what a cum shot," or he says, "I should have known when he didn't know what a cum shot was."
Yep, that's right. Money shot,
They
baby.
have this big because the way that scene is shot, it's just like so are they just hooking up in the bathroom? Oh, this is actually the porno that they're making. Okay.
Yeah, it's wild. It's a music video / porno. And since at that time they were trying to be like, well, we'll do something different. It's
Yeah.
a story with Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
And
Yeah.
fucking Frankie Goes to Hollywood is just like relax.
Relax, don't do it.
They were trying to tell you the whole time.
Oh,
Don't
yes,
be a
they
pervert.
Don't.
You're like,
do
"Wait,
it.
that song's about cum?"
Oh, God.
Well, in that context, absolutely.
Hey, he just likes to watch. That's his tagline through the whole movie.
Yeah.
I just like to watch.
Yeah, that's
Which, by the way, is in Cruising, because that's what Al Pacino tells the guy who wants to see him,
Oh,
the
yeah.
pissing bandana. It's like,
Yeah.
take the goddamn thing. I just like to watch.
Yeah, and honestly, and yeah, then Holly Body's the one that said I should have known when he didn't know what a cum shot was. But yeah, but like he's given the whole thing like he's some like I'm a big producer, blah blah blah. Like no one who, if you believe this guy's a like porn producer or whatever, and she gives her her nose what she doesn't do, and one of them is like I don't do stuff with animals, and I was like, oh God, I hope not. Is that something you have to answer on a daily basis?
No electrocution. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, she has a whole list of things, and nowadays I don't think that's even like somebody else will just hire you.
Yeah.
They'll hire someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
when she
sucks.
said no anal, I was like, well, you're obviously not
Right.
not still a porn star.
But she had more control because she was the superstar.
Yeah, she was a superstar.
She could be like, I'm not doing this, this, and this, and this, and this.
Didn't have the internet in Two Girls in One Cup.
Which I love because she's a business lady in this movie. Like she takes it seriously, and she's like, here are my boundaries. Here's what I'm worth.
Yeah, and that's what she said when she was interviewed for the movie. She's like, did you feel like you were being exploited? She's like, no, I'm in fucking charge.
Yeah.
And my character is in charge, and I'm in charge of everything else, and nobody on that set told me what to do. She did her own body double work. She's like, I did all the scenes, all the action scenes, all the sex scenes. That was me. I controlled the set. And I was like, that's fucking awesome.
yeah.
Because she was actually trying to get out of acting at that time.
Oh, yeah.
And De Palma was like, no, I need your butt.
Oh yeah, very butt centric movie for her in this.
Yeah, and then she helps him unravel the mystery.
Unravel the mystery that Sam is actually the Native American guy.
Yeah.
And
as we call them back then, Indians.
Yeah.
They kept saying the whole word. I'm like, God, I forgot.
The Indian.
The Indian.
You know, some may say the tearing away of the Native American's face to reveal Sam as a symbolic tearing away, where that Jake believed came tearing away.
Who said that?
who said that?
What quote is
What
that?
fucking asshole said that?
That's Ace Carrier 28.
That's fucking great. I love it. But Sam watches them because he calls him at in the fucking space sphere thing, and he's like, "Hey, how are things going?" As he's watching them from the house that he killed his wife in with binoculars in the dark, watching them fight. Because when she realizes he reveals to her, like, "I'm not a producer," she's like, "Wait a second. So you became a porn star to get to me, but to get me into this house to get this crime unraveled, and I'm getting the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
As
and
she
Sam
should.
was watching the whole thing, and that's when he comes. His opportunity is to like, well, fuck this. He gets in his little. Somehow he jumps in the costume all of a sudden.
And gets into his Ford Bronco.
Ford Bronco.
Did OJ see this movie?
Yeah. Oh, Katie just groaned when she saw it. She's like, really?
Fucking Ford Broncos.
Yeah.
I mean, it's uncanny at this point.
He jumps in the Bronco, grabs her, and they go head off, and they get caught in the traffic jam. And of course, Craig is like, "Wait a second!
Yeah.
There's a killer in there. He just hit her with a crowbar."
Just as the
no
cops,
one sees it.
cops do
And the-
nothing.
And the dog is there.
The dog is
The
in
dog
back
is in the
seat.
back seat of the car.
Yeah, it took him so much to figure all this shit out that we figured out from the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. And there's like the scene with like all the water, and then like basically, like he's going to bury him alive.
So yeah, I guess it's the reservoir. In
Yeah,
Hollywood.
it's literally 100 feet from the cops at this point.
By the time he gets out of his car to go chase after them, he had dug an entire fucking grave.
Like a
Yeah.
6 foot, 8 foot hole.
grave.
It was a huge grave. Let's just give this man some credit. He
What
got a
the-
strong back.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that,
And
even on a good
was he?
day.
And it's like, was he digging the hole with all that like rubber on his face too? Just like
Sweating along, baby.
Dog probably helped. The dog's just digging furiously.
Oh my god.
Dog was in the truck. Doesn't make sense.
But as a kid, I wasn't like, wow, that's a lot of work in 2 minutes.
yeah.
Maybe
Maybe he had the
I didn't
dug
think
in.
about it.
Maybe he just pulled up. It's like, holy shit, this hole's already here. Just got to dig a few more feet and we're good to go.
Adds to the surrealism of the film. It's like, this doesn't make sense. And I guess I feel like he's shortchanging us because he knows he can, because the movie is not really based in reality.
Yeah.
Nothing is as it seems. And then all of a sudden there's a fucking grave dug.
Yeah.
He's ready to pull her in.
And
Yeah.
he just, and then, Sam's all trying to or Jake's trying to sneak up on Sam and then bam, into the hole
Yeah.
because the dog gave him away.
Yeah, god damn it, man.
Literally,
His best friend.
everything in this movie is a nothing is as it seems. Like
Yeah.
almost every scene, you're just like, wait, that's something else. That's something else. Like,
then-
oh, did you think you were looking at this woman? But it's this woman. Like,
Yeah, and then the mask is off and he just tells the whole thing. He's like, it was me the whole time. That was my bitch ex-wife and blah, 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 blah.
This is the worst divorce story of all time.
But you
Yeah.
know what? It does have a redemption arc because the dog fucking kills him.
That's
Yes.
right.
And the dog may have survived. We don't know.
I choose to believe that he did. I
Yes.
also so desperately wanted Holly to kill both of these men. And
See,
hurt
that would have
the
been a good
dog.
ending.
Yeah.
Ending. And then she just walks away with the dog. Just
Yes.
them sitting there smoking a cigarette.
Perfect.
The dog too.
That's the redemption arc.
Yeah, but people forget she left the chemosphere hating him and gets picked up by somebody she's never met before,
Yeah.
which is the Native American.
Well, she
gets
met him.
knocked out.
Well, yeah.
And she didn't meet him as the Native
Oh, yeah,
American.
yeah,
She
yeah.
met him as Sam.
Yeah.
So she gets knocked out. And this is the great thing. This is like the movie, like The Day After. Like, how does this explain The Day After? She wakes up. He's already in the fucking river dead because of the dog. So there's no evidence.
Yeah.
There's no Sam. And then you have this crazy guy that's been following you around for 2 days, or, going through this elaborate thing to find you. And now you wake up and they're in a fucking grave with the guy that is in love with you. You think you just this whole
Yeah.
thing is wild.
Yeah. She's got
So
some
from her perspective, how does this get figured out?
Restraining order.
years of therapy after this.
Here's the thing. Well, apparently it didn't matter to Jake because now he's back as Glampire.
Yeah, the Glampire.
The Glampire.
They just rehired him.
Yeah, they just rehired him, and they're like, just in case you guys didn't see enough boobs, here's a close-up shot of some boobs.
Yeah. This movie ends with a literal body double.
Yeah, they're like, they said the name. They said the name of the movie.
There's a body
There's a
double.
body double.
And I like that scene because so they dig the grave, him and Sam get into a big fight. Sam knows he's got fucking claustrophobia, so he knows he can't get out of the pit because he's freaking out. And then he goes into this weird dream phase, because there's obviously time for this,
Yeah.
of where he imagines himself at the beginning of the movie as the vampire in the grave, and he's like, but he fights through his claustrophobia and jumps out of the grave and fights with Sam and rips off his face and the dog saves everybody. But like, what the fuck?
Well, see, that wouldn't happen. I'm pretty sure Sam could have filled that hole in like less than a minute.
Oh yeah, I mean, he dug it in 30 seconds.
He dug it in 30. It filled the holes way easier.
Oh my god, I love this fucking movie.
So I'm calling bullshit on this one.
This whole movie is bullshit, but that's the thing is once you watch it once, you have to watch it again unless you suck and be like, okay, I get it.
I watched it for the second time with Rachel, and she's like, "Is that fucking Melanie Griffith? Like, why is she in this movie?"
Oh my god, it's great.
Yeah, and at the time this was his follow up to Scarface.
Yeah,
and at the time, this movie was not a success. Probably because a lot of people they blame it on that it's a parody and like a homage to what was going on in L.A. at the time. So audiences thought it was derivative of But looking back, watching it now, you're looking back and it's better. But he's doing commentary on something that's actively going on at the time, so it's better to watch it 20 years down the road.
Absolutely.
And see, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is just, it's a commentary on L.A. and stuff, that whole, the life, Hollywood, blah, 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 I
mean, De Palma was a grindhouse director on the mainstream, making movies that I would have I would have loved and had seen it when it came out. Because these are the movies, it's like he's putting sex and violence and trying to put a message into your head, and it's an uncomfortable fucking scenes. Like say in Cruising with Freakin', you're like, it's the gay community and the clubs with sex and violence and stuff. And then you got De Palma being like, no, well, here's a porn.
Yeah.
We're going into the porn world, which nobody had ever done. And like with Scarface, it's the drug world. It's like he's they're not comfortable with.
Yeah. And I think originally he wanted to do this with like, and have people actually have sex.
He wanted the first unsimulated sex scene
not
ever.
Simulated. And
it didn't happen.
It's like, that's not going to work. I mean, also
he just took that idea over to the Untouchables.
Yeah. Well, that also like,
think about it. He just got shit on. He was like, well, fuck it. I'll make a goddamn gangster movie that everybody's going to like.
Yeah.
The Untouchables.
But like, if you're trying to hire actors and actresses to be in a movie, and you're just like, okay, well, you're actually going to have to fuck Craig Wasson in this movie.
What are you, Marlon Brando?
like, okay, I'm not going to be in this. So then who would you hire to be in the, he's like body double starring Christy Canyon.
Yeah, you would have to hire an actual porn star.
Yeah, somebody, who's the best actress to do that,
And then you have the shower scene that he didn't get to actually be part of in the first film, and then they put a body double in.
Body double comes in.
The credits start rolling, and Melanie Griffith walks up to the girl who's like not the body double. She's like, "You're going to get a lot of dates after this movie."
Yeah, it was just weird though. It was just like so they hired another actor because they wanted to continue shooting, and he sucked at his job, and then they scrapped all that because they were on a budget. I don't understand.
So in my thinking, since I've talked about this is a movie that the day after has to explain how the fuck somehow he becomes the hero in the newspapers, and then people like him, and he and Melanie Griffith are probably maybe a couple, or they're the power couple of the porn and maybe the subversive horror genre.
Yeah.
It's very like Maxine in that scene where they're connecting horror and porn. Of what's going on in Hollywood at that time. And that's how I look at it. He's like, well, they gave him his role back because people come to see this movie because that's the guy that saved her.
Yeah.
And then she's maybe a producer on the movie now.
Yeah.
It's very hard to explain because it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well, and she just forgives him for lying to her and stalking her.
Yeah.
That's Hollywood.
Again, it's Hollywood. He cares.
Gross.
He saved her underwear. Wait,
it's a wild movie, but I like it that she has the last words. Her words are like, you're going to get a lot of dates after this.
I'd like to think that in their relationship, like Craig Watson's character would be like, okay, like we can have sex, but I can only do it with you if I'm staring at you from a distance.
Dressed as Billy Idol.
That's like, it's kind of like how every time I watch this movie, I'll only do it through a pair of Venetian blinds.
Oh, man. But these movies, like they talk about voyeurism. They talk about all the things that people hadn't been talking about in mainstream movies for a very long time. And this movie bombed, and it actually ruined his film career for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
He had a contract, I think, was it Columbia? I can't remember. But, yeah. And they were like, nope.
Craig Wasson's career?
No, De
Palma.
Palma.
Well, I mean, it's no Dress to Kill, right?
No.
And you got to think, he was on a roll. Dress to Kill, very popular, right?
I mean, Blowout. I mean, that's...
Blowout did not make any money as well.
Yeah, but
Scarface.
But it's good.
Blowout's really good.
It's really good.
Basically the reason why Tarantino movies exist.
You will hear so many music cues from Brian De Palma movies, especially Blowout, in like Death Proof, and so many movies.
For sure.
While we were watching Blowout last night, I was like, holy shit, this is the entire soundtrack to Death Proof.
Yeah.
So many of it.
Blowout is the reason why John Travolta was in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah, exactly. Because I think that's one of his Tarantino's favorite movies. Is
Yeah,
Blowout.
it's one of his top ones.
When she's on the deck of the bar looking at the at Kurt Russell's car, is the main theme from Blowout.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But this movie, man, so go ahead and hammer on us, guys. I know you and Dave and Katie just love it.
It's just weird, okay? It's just too weird.
It's just not good.
Man, I don't agree.
I
That's
I
why
can
we brought it up so many fucking times.
I can understand, like, if the first time you watched it, you were a teenager. Like, oh my god, this movie's so great.
I was like 9, 8, something like that.
That's way too young, Steve.
Fuck yeah, man.
but like watching it now, I don't know. Like, the American Giallo is like, just Red Shoe Diaries with knives.
We haven't even talked about the editor.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
It's about American Giallo. I
Yeah.
guess Canadian Giallo, technically, but whatever.
But I mean, it's not my favorite genre in horror, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I like really fucking dumb movies.
No,
so,
but you like good movies too, though.
that's debatable.
Yeah.
See, I enjoyed Giallos. Like, I love Bay of Blood. I love Dressed to Kill. I love Blood and Black Lace. This is just... I feel like it's being weird. It's being confusing and strange and, like, non-reality just to be like, look how weird we are.
Yeah,
Look
he's
how, like,
definitely flexing.
subversive.
He's
Yeah.
flexing. Like, look what I can do with a camera. Argento could do this and do this. Watch what I can do with it because I have a bigger budget. I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
And I don't care. I'm not impressed by it.
Yeah,
It's
no,
at
like
the
a-
time, though.
It's like a
different.
$10 million exploitation film.
yeah.
That's what makes me happy about it.
Yeah.
And they're thrillers, right?
Right.
So they're not really horror films at the end of the day.
No, they are horror films. It's horrific, the shit that happens in these movies. It's just more stylized. And I can appreciate the stylization of exploitation.
Yeah. There's
It
definitely...
doesn't have to be basket case, which I would love that, but like I would get tired of that.
Yeah. There's definitely, it kind of keeps you on edge the whole time you're watching it, and it moves along very quickly. So you're just like, it's just one thing after another. And
There's lots of Easter eggs in these movies too. They're
Yeah.
so rewatchable. Like when they're doing the Frankie Goes to Hollywood music video, and you see fucking like I'm ready for my close up girl. She comes
Yeah.
out. There's so many little things.
like, and the new wave soundtrack, all the locations in there. Like, if you were from LA, you would and you lived in LA in the 80s, you'd be like, oh, there's Tale of the Pup, and like
Yeah.
the Beverly Center, Barney's Beanery, like the LA Farmers Market, the Rodeo Mall, the Spruce Goose Dome, and the Beach Terrace Motel. All these places, Hollywood Tower. Like, it's just like the whole thing. Like, he just makes sure to put all these landmarks in the movie. So it goes back to the thing where he's making a movie that's a commentary on LA, and the people that live in LA at the time are like, why the fuck is he showing all this stuff all the time? Like, I don't care about this. I see it every day. Like,
Yeah, you do, but other people like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And then you would see him being ripped off for so many years afterwards. And
Yeah.
still to this day, I mean, Maxine is an ode to this movie.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely
Big time.
is, but
It's done better. I mean, I don't think it's done better. I think it's done more. It's more dumbed down for what we needed, and then at the end, it still goes fucking batshit crazy.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they had the Frankie Goes to Hollywood playing in the club scene
Oh, yeah.
in
What was it,
Maxine.
the Pleasure Dome?
Yeah, Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. Which,
In Maxine.
Yeah, I'd never even heard that song before, and I was like, oh damn.
Except Kevin Bacon's not fucking anybody in the,
Yeah.
during Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Yeah, if anything, it's that crew of exploitation directors like him and Scorsese, and like during the 70s, they were like the Mavericks. I mean, so many books have been written about these guys. Even Joe Bob Briggs has done books just on these directors and what they did and how they changed Hollywood. And this is an important movie to me because of that. This is the 80s, and you're going into the later 80s where everything's going to be more formulaic. It's going to be Friday the 13th, Part 10. But this is different, and
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like being able to put in a fucking movie that's going to be like sex and violence, but still wild and very highly entertaining. And then like, what is going on? Why do I like this movie at the same time?
Yeah, and even also like besides the Frankie Goes to Hollywood, you got the Pino Donaggio main theme
You
of it.
have
that
to have him.
Dun 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 dun. dun. And it's like I don't know that song in general. Like every time I hear that, it always just kind of is like nostalgic almost.
And at the time, I mean, he just did the Howling soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. And he knows what he's doing. He did the Piranha. He has that same kind of sound. Like when you listen to a Christopher Young score, you're like, oh, I know Christopher Young. I know, friggin' the Beetlejuice soundtrack.
Yeah.
Fucking Danny Elfman. I get all that. And it's the same thing with Pino Donaggio.
Piranha.
Piranha.
Yeah,
Just wanted to correct you there, Steve.
Piranha, yeah. That's and I brought this up on another episode where they used that same song in that Michael Jordan movie about the shoes. about how Nike made the Jordan shoes or whatever. There's a whole movie about that. But they used that in the movie, and I was watching it, and I was like, that's a fucking Body Double song in this shoe movie. What the?
But anyways, that's Body Double in a nutshell within.
Yeah.
And I like it because you have your perspective and you have your perspective, and Ace and I are jerking it off.
Yeah.
Because at the basic, when you rewatch it, especially if you're not a fan, you're like, this is just some male fantasy. Fuck, it's icky. It makes me feel uncomfortable. But if you dig past that, I think you'll find more.
Yeah, I like it. It's wild. There's so much going on. It's, and I'm a big fan of buying, those Vinegar Syndrome, Severin Films type kind of movies that get released.
Trash.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah, I love trash.
Guilty.
I'm like a raccoon. I just love trash.
Yeah, this is fucking trash, but it was made for $10 million.
Yeah,
And released.
And released.
in theaters.
People loved it. Maybe not. I wasn't one of those people. That's okay. That is okay. We've already said that. Before we go,
Uh-oh. Oh, shit. You actually have a question?
I do.
It's been a minute. Shut up.
If you saw that guy stealing the panties out of the trash can, what would you say?
Can I have one?
That's
Oh
good
my
enough.
God.
That's gross. Yeah, that's all. I see, because like I don't really have a whole lot for this.
God damn it, Dave.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I can't think of another one.
Okay, mine was like, what's the moral of the story? I said, mine are cops are dumb.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do we love it or do we hate this movie?
I love it, obviously.
Yeah, my answer was it's surreal from beginning to end. It's David Lynch before David Lynch. The locations, the lights, the swirling over the top soundtrack, the way he makes Hollywood glamorous in some scenes while focusing on the smallest detail, and of course, porn. Yay.
So you're just talking about Body Double.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hate is a strong word. I would not say hate because I don't really hate anything.
Yeah.
But just didn't care for the movie.
Okay.
Didn't do much for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was entertained by it, but yeah.
When did you see it?
Disappointing.
When did you ever see it?
God, no. The first time I saw this was probably in 2020.
No shit.
Yeah, I never saw it as a
because
kid.
it doesn't have to do with age then.
I watched it. Yeah, I watched it as a full-grown adult.
I figure Ace saw it when he was like 15 and was just beating off to it.
No,
me.
I never made it past the opening scene. I got to Barbara Crampton. I was like, I never saw past this part.
It's true.
But no, yeah, we watched it in 2020 when everything was kind of closed down. Me and some friends watched it on Discord together because I watched it one time prior to that by myself and was like, man, this is wild. And I was like, I was telling a bunch of people about it, and we all just watched it on the Discord in a group. And after that, I just kind of got like obsessed with it.
Now, were you all video chatting while you were watching it?
Oh, boy.
You just sitting there staring at him?
I was like, yes.
What's that noise?
Yeah.
It's 5 Zoom meetings going,
Gross.
I love Body Double.
Yeah. This is a really good movie.
But yeah, so I mean, I don't know, whatever, man. It is what it is. It's an interesting starting point for American Giallo in the '80s, and now we are still making American Giallo with Maxine, and I know Who Killed Me. There's so many other ones. The Editor, which we didn't get to. It's more of a Canadian one, but goddamn, it's a fucking.
It's really good. It's like a parody of Giallo movies,
It
pretty
just
much.
keeps going on and on and on, man. I
Yeah.
love that movie.
It's great.
Okay, get us out of here, Dave.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Gore Club podcast.
Oh, and I do apologize if you hear a weird noise, like humming noises, because it's fucking 12 degrees and we have a heater in the room.
Yes. So apologize for that. It's too late. You've listened to the whole thing. Sorry.
I was
It
like, what
annoyed
is
you.
that noise? Oh, heat.
Like, share, and subscribe. You can find us on which one's not there anymore, Steve?
Anchor.
Yeah, fuck them. Breaker, Google Podcast, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Spotify, Apple Podcast, CastBox, Verbal.com, YouTube, Facebook,
Spotify.
That's
Spotify.
all of it.
places.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Oh.
Gore Club Podcast. This is the Gore Club Podcast with Steve Vessell, Ace, and Deathmetal Dave.